Swayze. How do you pronounce his name? Swayze? Barrister and solicitor as the Integrity Commissioner to perform the duties and responsibilities of an Integrity Commissioner for the town of Huntsville. And further, the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to enter into an agreement with Mr. Robert J. Swayze for a 4-year period, and further, the terms and conditions of the agreement be to the satisfaction of the Chief Administrative Officer. Questions? Councillor Alcock.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it is important to note that we had the same bylaw before us at District Council last week, and because this was a joint process, Tan, you can correct me at any time if I'm wrong, but it was a joint process with the towns and the district in the selection of this commissioner, and one of the district councillors spoke quite eloquently to this appointment and recommended not approving going forward with the approval of this position based on a couple of incidents that occurred with this individual, and so the motion was defeated at district last week. So I don't know if that leaves us anywhere. I just thought it was important to know we didn't have follow-up to say as a fallback who we're going to select. I'm sure that staff will come back to District Council with another, Plan B. But just to say, District did not go forward with his appointment.
Okay, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Alcock is correct. That was defeated, narrowly defeated at District. One of the questions, though, that came out of it afterwards, I think, that wasn't answered, I think, we heard one side of what an Integrity Commissioner's role is from that particular councillor. But I'm just wondering if we could get some kind of an explanation. What do we expect from an Integrity Commissioner? It seemed like, in a sense, he was almost like a moderator, or in the role that was described by Councillor Harding. His function was to be more of a peacekeeper, or a mediator, or whatever. And I'm just wondering, is that really what we expect of this particular position? Could I?
No, but I'll have the CAO speak to that. Or would you like? What does the Integrity Commissioner do with that? Probably not Bill Harding's political bidding. It's quite eloquent. I'm trying to mayor. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. So the commissioner's role is really to educate. That's their main role, is to educate council on the code of conduct. Now, I talked in the staff report on Bill 68 that is sitting in committee at the moment, but we anticipate it will be passed, and that it has some components in the changes to the Act, and one that we will need an Integrity Commissioner or provide for the services of an Integrity Commissioner. So we anticipate that's going to change. There's also an expanded role regarding the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act in there as well. So the Integrity Commissioner is to educate on both pieces, as well as to hear complaints on the code.
From the public?
From anybody.
So if a member of the public thinks that a member of this council has done something inappropriate, they can speak to the Integrity Commissioner?
Correct.
Right, okay. Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Tanya then. And I think one of the criticisms that we heard from Councillor Harding was the fact that there were no decisions or no judgments handed down by the Integrity Commissioner. And so the question now becomes, is that his role, to be handing down judgments or decisions on someone's conduct or whatever?
He will make recommendations to council.
My understanding of it is that if in fact a member of this council has broken our code of conduct, for example, he would let this council know, and it's up to the council to decide how to discipline that member of council.
That is my understanding. Now, also, with the hiring of the Integrity Commissioner, he will be providing training to council on this as well. That's on the code and all of that. Now, I can tell you, Councillor Alcock, that Lake Bays has passed this bylaw, as well as Bracebridge. So Gravenhurst, my understanding, they decided Not so much of the individual here, but they wanted to wait to see that bill pass, and then that clerk will have to go out for a new RFP. I'm assuming the district clerk will have to do the same.
Sorry, Councillor Stone, I think was first.
No, it was about this.
Okay. Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you, Worship. That was sort of my question. It begs the question. District dealt with it, didn't approve it. Does each municipality and each township deal with this? Why, if district's dealing with it?
Because it's for each individual. We're separate council, district council. Right?
So we could get a different individual?
Yeah. We don't have to have the same power.
Okay.
We can have a different.
Okay.
And so far, we don't have to appoint anybody, but that we think that's coming actually. So, you know, it's interesting that what went on in Muskoka Lakes comes back to the Bala Falls. It's the scrap about Bala Falls, and now we're talking about it here. Unbelievable. Councillor Weave.
Thank you, Worship. I'm just curious about the actual discussion at district, and that being, if all members of the district council are members of a municipal council that has an integrity commissioner in which they train and receive feedback, etc., does it not seem redundant that all those trained individuals now have another integrity commissioner to go through that process? And so I'm wondering if that was...
Probably a bit of overlap, but the code of conduct is different at the district council. It's a different council. Right?
Right.
So, I mean, how we do things a little bit differently here than
Right.
we do there, and
Okay.
vice versa. Oh. Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Worship. Through you. Tony, we're legislated to do this, correct? We have to provide the service.
Through your mayor, at this moment, no.
Okay.
We anticipate that Bill 68 will be passed. As I say, it's had second reading, it's sitting in committee right now. And that will say that we must provide for the service of integrity commissioner, either ourselves or with a neighboring municipality.
Okay. Continue. So the process you went through to determine that this was the best person for the position, I know there were numerous people vying for the work. Has any other municipality used it, to your knowledge?
Any of the individuals who applied?
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
And the only one that has a problem with it is Muskoka Lakes. The people that are angry about Bala Falls in Muskoka Lakes are the only ones that don't like it. Go ahead.
I think we have to, at some point, rely on our executive staff and our clerk and trust their decisions. I support in that decision.
Councillor Alcock?
Thank you, Your Worship. I concur with Councillor Fitzgerald. I do think we need to support our staff. I just thought it was important to raise it because the incident that he did raise, in fact, was about council conduct. And the review of council conduct was not considered to be, there wasn't feedback to council to say this is inappropriate behavior when clearly it was. So, I think he did put you're right, it was political, it was about Bala Falls, all of that is true, but nevertheless, the crux of the argument was the fact that he reviewed the conduct of council and it was inappropriate behavior. And as far as follow-up and recommendations, very little.
I just wasn't prepared to just accept Phil Harding's version of facts. Seemed inappropriate to be judge and jury on what he said. Yeah.
Thank you, Worship. If I can just ask Ms. Clay one question, we obviously have to enter into an agreement with Mr. Swayze regarding the services. What are the provisions going to be in the agreement if council doesn't deem the services to be satisfactory?
The current provision that we anticipate to be going with is 6 months. So anybody, either party can provide notice within 6 months, but they will finish with the current, if they have a current investigation.
Councillor Thompson, last one.
Thank you very much. Let's flog this to death here. So with regards to this, I mean, we are inundated on an ongoing basis with complaints about council, I realize that, right? Like, what, are we at 0 in the last 18 years that I know of? So, I'm just curious as to...
Someone will believe that now.
Okay, there've been a couple or two, yeah, okay. I guess I'm just curious as to who would this person then, or if someone that's in the public does have a complaint about one of the stalwart 9 around here, who do they make their objections to? Does that go to you, the clerk?
So if they have a complaint against the code,
Against the code, okay. Right.
Any member of the public can complain on anything, of course, and that is, we have a complaint process, or they can go to the ombudsman to do so as well. But this is against the code of conduct for council, and those complaints would come through to us through the Integrity Commissioner should we proceed.
I see, okay. Looks like a make-work project for someone.
Province is very good at solving problems that don't exist, so. Okay, I'm gonna call a question. All those in favor of the resolution? Motion is carried. Thanks. Moving on to bylaws. Moved by Brian Thompson, seconded by Bob Stone. Be it resolved, the council, after due consideration of the